Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bedpost Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Erin Pym. Bedpost Podcast is a place where I invite guests and performers and presenters from my Bedpost stage show that I do here in Toronto and beyond into the studio to have more in-depth conversation about sex and sexuality and sexiness with me. This week, I have a very special guest, actually one of my new sexy sponsors. Please welcome to the mic, Trevor from Provocateur Images.
Hey, hey.
Oh, it's so provocateurian.
Yes, exactly.
Provocateur-esque.
Very provocative. It's always provocative.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you so much for coming. It's going to be a nice little convo we're going to have today.
I think so. I'm excited to see where we're going to take this.
Yeah, I was like thinking of all different fun questions for you, so I'm going to make it
surprise me.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a fun time for you. Why don't you tell the people what they need to know? Who are you and what do you do?
Well, who am I? I'm a photographer, and I'm a boudoir photographer specifically. So for those of you that don't know what that is, basically I take pictures of people in their underwear or less. If you want a really, really overviewing kind of explanation of what I do.
Yep.
But really, I guess what I do is I help people see a sexier side of themselves, and really I'm all about empowerment. So that's really what I do.
How did you start doing this? Did you go to school for photography or
No.
were you a hobbyist, or how did you start it?
No. Like photography, like the boudoir photography in general, was a total accident. Photography started out like I was going to Ryerson, like early 2000s.
Not to date yourself.
No, yeah, not really. I was there. I was like Doogie Howser. I was there when I was 8. So there's another dating reference, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't help at all. So, yeah, like I did some very basic math. I realized, living expenses, I'm making no money. I need a job.
Yeah.
So I handed out resumes everywhere that I could think of at the Eaton Center, and
At the Eaton Center?
yeah, like and everywhere else on Yonge Street. And the only place that called me back was a camera store because I was a giant nerd, still am, proudly. Mm-hmm. And digital cameras were just becoming a thing, and they wanted some nerdy tech guy to like basically sell these things. And I'm like, okay. And my experience with cameras was film went in them. That was as much as I knew. And then from there, it just became like, I don't know, this is fun. I like this. And then I just started monkeying around with it, buying cameras. It became an addiction. Yeah, and then it just went on. And I worked in the industry as in like the retail side, managing stores, selling, running training departments. I actually ran a photo school for one of the photography companies here in the city.
Wow.
And then I went on to the distribution side. And then I realized I need to get the hell out of this. I know way too much, and I like taking pictures of people. So I was shooting portraits, and then the boudoir thing just happened because I had a client who just asked me to do it. And I went, yeah, okay, sure.
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I've shot like 2 figure nudes before. This can't be hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's really hard.
I was wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
And, you know, like just seeing her reaction after the fact where here's a lady who is mid-40s, came out of a long-term relationship, really felt, you know, not so great about herself. And then all of a sudden I had the power to change how she perceives herself, because when she looked at the pictures and walked out of the studio, there's a smile from ear to ear on her face. She's tearing up looking at the shots. And I mean, although way back when, 6 years ago when I started doing this, I look at where I am now and go, wow, like I'm amazed she thought those were so good, but
because they weren't. Yeah.
not compared to what I do now, but I mean, everybody grows, but I just kind of had that aha moment where I went, I just want to do that. I want to make everybody feel like that. Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to specialize. And then here I am 6 years later doing this
just that.
Yeah.
Doing exactly that. So is that a typical thing for you, for someone that's mid-40s? What I guess what I'm getting to is like, what types of people are you finding want to do boudoir photography?
I guess I've got a cross section of people. Yeah. I mean, you could have people who are maybe just engaged and they want to do something like this as a wedding day present.
Together, like couples?
Oh, that's coming. Don't worry. But no,
well, like as
the
a gift,
bride
like
wants to give the groom something
yeah.
that's, just a little bit more fun than a watch, right? So they come in, they do up they do the shoot, we make a book for them, and then they give it to them, and the groom, most guys, let's face it, they have no idea you can do this in the first place.
Yes.
So
you will blindside them.
Yeah, and then so they just leave them speechless in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And so that's one person. And then I guess you have like the anniversary people as well that kind of tie in a little bit, sort of similar. And then you've got a group of usually women that are just doing this because it's on a bucket list, or they've reached a milestone. Maybe they've lost some amount of weight, and they feel great. They're healthier than they've ever been. Maybe they want to regain their sexy, and they just want to feel like
want to kickstart, lots of reasons, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, a lot of people get up in their head like they have to look like they did when they were 22.
Yes, yeah.
And when you're 35, 45, 55, you won't.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
I know.
But that's okay.
Yeah, that's very funny. I was having that conversation with a friend of mine because someone that I'm very close to constantly compares themselves to how they were when they were in high school. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can't do that to yourself.
No.
You were literally a kid in high school. You cannot keep trying to compare yourself to your body, your high school body. You were a child. You didn't have hips. You didn't have breasts. You didn't have, you weren't an adult.
Exactly.
Don't do that to yourself.
And that's kind of what I do for a lot of people, mostly women. I mean, there are a handful of guys that will come in and see me on an individual basis as well, which is kind of fun.
That's fun.
But I guess if I could show as many women as possible, like, you know what, you're right now, you're as gorgeous as you are.
Yeah. And
just rock it, own it.
Yeah.
Don't let some society mold say you're supposed to fit this.
Mm-hmm. So that's saying, do you have a lot of people of all different shapes and sizes coming to
everything under the sun?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's great.
There's always people who kind of fit that very traditional mold of what North American beauty is.
Yes,
but I think I photograph women who are really slender sometimes, and they also get a little bit of shame from society on one side because they are so thin, and everybody thinks, oh, you must have a eating disorder, which 99% of the time is not the case. But then,
or it depends what's in fashion, what body types are in fashion. It's like, okay, so a big booty is in fashion, so now the skinny girls with no bum feel inadequate, and it's just like all this like fashion industry bullshit.
It's so bad,
like that a body type can be in or fashionable,
and the greatest thing, so outrageous. The greatest thing is though, is I get to show them that like you look great. You need to be you, not somebody else, and just rock being you. And when you see the after when we meet up basically after the session to look at the pictures and stuff, there's this look on most people's faces which is just, oh my god, that's me. Because in their head they're going, damn, that girl is so hot.
Yeah, that model in that picture looks like banging.
Yeah, and a second later, oh, that's me. And then there's this great look of confusion on their face. Yeah. And then it's followed up by this beautiful smile where they just go, you know what? I don't think I need to keep comparing myself.
I mean, it's a journey, and I'm sure that isn't the end of it for those people and for all of us. But it all is just helping us on our way to body acceptance, body positivity, self-love, all that good stuff.
And that's just what I do.
Yeah, and that's your business,
and
baby.
And to answer the last part of that question a second ago, the last group of people I get in are couples.
Oh,
which
fun.
Is the best date night ever.
Oh my god, if I could convince my husband to do that. I can't.
Usually,
I would not be able to, but I'm like, that sounds so fun.
It is. And the guys are always the biggest babies, right? They're thinking,
in what way?
Oh my god, I have to come in there, I have to be in my underwear. Like, women are self-conscious.
Yes.
Guys multiply that
you
in
think?
Factors. Absolutely.
In your experience.
When you point a camera at them. Right?
Yeah, because how many men have had that experience? Like, very few men have had that experience of a camera on them when they're semi-nude. Whereas females, it's like, that's the standard. That
it seems that way.
Because it's everywhere in our pop culture of semi-nude women.
Yeah.
But is it that way for men? That's probably like a total leap for a guy.
Not necessarily. Yeah, it definitely is a leap for the guy. But by the end of the session, guess who's saying, "Oh, I don't want it to be over," is the guy. Because like the way I usually structure it is I'm usually gonna put the female in the power position.
Oh, okay.
Unless the relationship dynamic that I find out is more like he's more the dom, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And
if they've got some sort of a dynamic.
Yeah. But most times, most couples don't. So, in this case, we put the girl as the seductress. And of course, the guy usually hasn't seen a lot of this from their partner.
So it's exciting.
So they're just like, this is the best thing ever. And it's just so much fun. And, we rock a few outfits. And then by the time we're done, that couple is looking for the nearest hotel room.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. See, that's the same thing. Like if when I have my stage show bedpost, I'm like, man, if a couple can come to my stage show and then just go and fuck after, I'm like, my job is done.
That's right. That's right.
That is what I would love. Like for people to be opened to, a new thing and get excited by it and like, go fuck. I'm like,
yeah, go fuck.
I'm like, great. Yeah, go get your fuck on, Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan.
Oasis is right down the street. So are you able to tell me, are there some go-to, I'm kind of asking from a personal level, are there some go-to poses that everybody looks good doing? Like, do you have a handful that you can put anyone in and be like, this is going to be fucking gorgeous?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean,
give us some model hacks right now.
Model hacks. Let me think. The easiest poses to do are usually the ones where you're not looking at the camera and it becomes more about body language. So, I mean, kind of like what this window is here. It's when you're looking at the camera at me, I'm backlit. So if I expose this right, I can get a nice silhouette profile of somebody. And if they just kind of do what I call a desire pose, because I give people different pose groups to work with. There's desire, seduction, flirty, playful. And so desire is basically just this. It's going to be... I'll do it in just a second. I'll explain. So I'm like, I don't lose the mic here. Basically, it's arch your back, pop your bum, legs got to be staggered a little bit, chin way up, eyes closed, and then you do one of these. It's just a little yoga breath. It's a in, out. And so let me just demonstrate here for you. So your hands might go up like this. It's as good as I can do sitting in a chair.
Yes.
But basically, it's that long, elongated body.
Yeah.
And what I generally tell
Is it kind of orgasm pose?
Yes. I call it desire to be a little bit more discreet. I thought about calling it the O pose, but
it's just like,
no.
Like a release or like a...
I kind of jokingly will say to people, it's like when you wake up on your day off. Right? Like, let's say your day off Saturday. You wake up in bed and you go...
And you're like,
You basically do a stretch. The only thing I don't want is a yawn. I want that exhale, but I don't want the yawn. Right? And if you can do that for me, we make an amazing picture.
I'd be the person that would yawn.
But it's a lot of fun.
Like,
I mean,
feels good.
What I guess the way I structure things in a photo session is that I take what I do very seriously, but it's not clinical.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you should feel a little bit silly if you've never done this before, right?